Who decided racing could be more than just a sport?
And a big fire there as they exited out of turn 3.
How did Nazi Germany get in the way of motorsport's rise? What made drivers risk everything in fragile machines only to become pawns in a game of politics and power? The answers will change how you see the birth of Formula One forever. Is the principle of motorsport a symphony of speed, engineering brilliance, and human determination? Formula One isn't just a race, it's a stage where the world's most advanced machines meet the ultimate test of human skill. Unlike any other motorsports, Formula One pushes the boundaries of innovation, combining cutting-edge technology with split-second decision-making. But what makes Formula One truly unique? It's not just the speed or the glamour, it's the stories, the rivalries, the triumphs, and the tragedies that have shaped the sport into a global phenomenon. Today we'll dive into these stories, from humble beginnings to the roar of engines echoing around the world. Let's uncover how Formula One came to life. So what did it take to build this high-stakes world of speed and danger?
The former world motor racing champion Ayrton Senna has been pronounced clinically dead after a crash at this afternoon's San Marino Grand Prix.
The story of Formula One begins in the late 19th century with the invention of the automobile. In the 1890s, the first organized motor races were held primarily in France. These events weren't just competitions, they were experiments. Engineers and adventurers pushed their machines to the limits, driven by relentless desire to go faster, to do better. In 1906, the French Grand Prix became the world's first official automobile race. But these early races were no polished spectacles. Drivers faced grueling conditions, unpaved roads, treacherous weather, and cars that broke down as often as they ran. Yet these pioneers proved the way for what became a global obsession. By the 1920s and 1930s, national competition flourished, setting the stage for fierce rivalries between manufacturers and drivers. Racing was no longer just about endurance, it was about speed, precision, and a growing sense of spectacle. This era, defined by innovation and daring, set the foundation for Grand Prix racing as we know it. Imagine hurtling down a muddy road at breakneck speeds in a machine held together by bolts and hope. This was the beginning of modern racing. By the 1930s, Grand Prix racing had evolved into a sport of speed, power, and national pride. Automakers like Mercedes-Benz, Auto Union, Alfa Romeo, and Bugatti led the charge, their cars dominating across the whole Europe. This was the era of silver arrows, machines that represented not just engineering powers, but also the ambitions of nations on the brink of war. The drivers of this era were gladiators in their own right. Names like Rudolf Caracciola and Bernd Rosemeyer became legends, risking their lives in machines that reached blistering speeds. The races weren't just competitions, they were battlegrounds of technology and strategy. But as tensions in Europe rose, the engines fell silent. World War II brought racing to a halt, but it didn't extinguish the passion. In the shadows of war, plans were already forming for a new era, a unified world of motorsport that would rise from the ashes. The cars may have stopped, but the dream of speed never did. What would come next would change racing forever. The end of World War II marked a new beginning for motorsport. In 1946, the Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, or FIA, introduced the concept of Formula One. The idea was simple, yet revolutionary: create a set of standardized rules for the fastest, most advanced single-seated cars. In 1950s, the dream became reality. The first Formula One World Championship kicked off with 7 races, including the iconic British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Legends were born that year as drivers like Giuseppe Farina and Juan Manuel Fangio captivated the world. Farina clinched the inaugural championship, driving for Alfa Romeo, but it was clear this was just the beginning of something much bigger. Everyone started to get an idea that Formula One wasn't just a race, it was a statement. It declared to the world that motorsport was back, and it was here to stay. Imagine the roar of the crowd, the scream of engines, and the birth of a new legend. This was the dawn of Formula One. While drivers became the heroes of the sport, the real evolution of Formula One lay in the growing complexity of the machines and the teams behind them. In the 1950s, Formula One transitions from a raw driver versus driver contest to a battle of engineers, strategists, and designers. This was the era when names like Ferrari, Maserati, and Mercedes cemented their legacies, not just as car manufacturers, but as symbols of innovation and perfection. Ferrari, led by Enzo Ferrari, emerged as the heart and soul of Formula One. Based in Maranello, Italy, Ferrari wasn't just about speed, it was about passion. Their cars combined engineering precision with artistry, winning the first ever Constructors' Championship in 1958. Maserati's lightweight cars pushed agility to the forefront, while Mercedes redefined power with their dominance over arrows. Technology also advanced at a breakneck pace. The use of wind tunnels revolutionized aerodynamics, while experiments with materials like aluminum and magnesium made cars faster and more reliable. Every tweak in design could mean the difference between victory and defeat. But the sport wasn't about just the cars. It was about teamwork. Pit crews began to emerge as an essential part of the strategy, with rapid tire changes and refueling often deciding races. Formula One wasn't just a test of drivers. It was now a test of entire organizations. What truly defines victory in Formula One? The courage of the driver, or the genius of the machine and the team behind it? The 1950s were a golden age for Formula One, defined by heroes who transcended the sport. Juan Manuel Fangio, known as El Maestro, dominated the decade with 5 world championships, a record that would stand for decades. Fangio's precision and courage set the standard for what it meant to be a Formula One driver. Stirling Moss, often called the greatest driver never to win a championship, brought a flair and innovation to the track. Together, these drivers and their machines, from Ferrari to Maserati to Mercedes-Benz, captivated audiences around the globe. But the 1950s were not without a pearl. Safety standards were virtually non-existent, and the cost of pushing the limits was often paid in blood. Yet, it was this daring spirit that propelled Formula One into the global phenomenon we know today. These were the men who raced not just to win, but to live, and sometimes to die for glory.